Everybody, this is Miss Florida Hot Picks here. I'm giving you guys some updated workouts, and we're going to work on New Jersey. This was a request from one of our special members, and I want you guys to make sure you're paying attention. Normally, you'll see me using a 317 rundown. When I get folks that are asking for workouts because things are changing, and they do change, and sometimes we have to flip back and forth to see what's going on. A lot of folks like to use both at one time. They can, sift through the numbers. They kind of know what they're looking for. But for others, it's not that simple because this is already a lot of data to sort through. So please don't feel overwhelmed. Don't get overwhelmed. If you see something slowing down and you would like to switch over just to see what's going on, that's fine. Here's the thing. As soon as you kind of make the switch, some of you may notice that what you were using before comes right back. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Patience is key. They're going to have some throw off days. That's what they have to do. You may notice that there was a certain pattern. You thought it was going to hit a particular day, and then it took days for that number to come out, right? That's part of it. Because a lot of times they're hoping that you're going to give up on the number, or that you're going to find something out. And the back and forth is kind of what hurts some players. Now, some that know how to digest everything at one time, they've been playing at this, they have more leeway with it. So just be patient, okay? But I do want to show you some other options. Don't feel that because I'm showing you this option that you have to switch over. Just giving you guys some other things, because some people like working off one rundown compared to maybe something else. So here's the 1, 2, 3 rundown. Okay, I want you guys to pay close attention. We're going to backtrack this quite a few days here. I want you to see how this thing stems, okay? And there will be some breaks in between because, like I said, you're not going to see the same information every time, okay? All right, so let's start with January 6th. The hit was 250 in the evening. All right, now I want you guys to know how to make sure you're counting out the rundowns properly. We have a lot of new folks here, so if you don't know how to use a rundown properly, we're going to start counting one out right now. Okay, so you're going to take your last hit and you're going to add each of these numbers down the columns. So for your column 1, you're going to add 1. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, 5 plus 1 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7, 7 plus 1 is 8, 8 plus 1 is 9, 9 plus 1 is 10. Now when you get your 2-digit numbers, only use your ones plus your 0. 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. So the number you start with will be the number you end with. And then you would add 2 all the way down that second column, 3 all the way down the third column. So here's the first thing I want you guys to pay attention to, are key digit numbers. Key digit numbers could be telling you about certain patterns for your state. And for key digits, depending on the state, depending on what's being used, this particular 1, 2, 3 rundown, I'm seeing some key digits in the forms of 0s and 5s and 2s and 7s. And when they're together, you'd be surprised what patterns they're showing. So again, those key digits are 0 and its mirror 5, 2 and its mirror 7. Okay, so make sure you guys know that. All right, so let's go back over here. Talked about key digits. When they're together, and they could be in different various forms. This 5, 5, that's your double. But sometimes they'll be mirrored. 5, 0 or 0, 5. That's actually the same as 5, 5. Okay, it's the same number, they're just opposite of each other. So make sure you guys know how to use your mirror numbers. Okay, so mirror numbers are as follows. A 0 could be a 5, or 5 could be a 0. 1 could be a 6, 6 could be a 1. 2 could be a 7, 7 could be a 2. 3 could be an 8, 8 could be a 3. 4 could be a 9, and a 9 could be a 4. Okay, so pay close attention to that. So getting back to the key digits, whenever you see them, the key digits like 0, 5, 5, 5, 0, 0, if you see them together, there could be an indicator that the numbers coming on top or the bottom could be hot. Yes, in every state, they may not run straight across. But for New Jersey, if you're using the 1, 2, 3, that's a possibility. So I want you guys to pay attention to that. So you see the 5-5, pay attention to the numbers on the bottom and on the top. So we have an 878, I would write that down. On the top of the 5-5, we have a 632, I would write that down. Then I will go to the 0-5, and I see a 373. Now this is where they start to mirror. And then the 5-0 going on top, I'm just going to look at this part, is 137. Do you know why I use the numbers not just with the 5-5 but the 0-5? Remember, we were just talking about those mirror digits, right? Well, in a rundown, all of the numbers after a certain point, they mirror, okay? So like this 250 became a 755. So that meant that the 5-5 changes, the 5-0 changes, and I want to look at those numbers. You're going to see some slight variations. Like that 632 could be a 137, okay? That 373 can also be a 878, okay? You have to be careful. A lot of people, when they see these charts, they may use one, not the other, and then the other might hit because of a mirroring. And this is why some people, they say they don't believe in mirrors. They say you shouldn't. But when it comes to other states, you want to be careful with that, okay? This is part of the trickery, is learning how to mirror when possible. So anyways, the 878, if you pay close attention, I'm going to share with you. I'm going to find that on the chart. If you go a few days, you're going to see it right here, January 10th, 878. Okay, it took a couple days. And a lot of people ask me, well, how long should we hold on to numbers? It depends on your state. Okay. Sometimes there are date number indicators. You just have to pay attention to them. They're not always likely, and sometimes they can move around. But I will notice the date sum of 1 was actually triples here, which was very, very cool. That was a nice little thing here. They had these triples here. Okay, now let's talk about a date sum number since we're referencing that. A date sum number is when we add the month and the date together. So you notice, let's go back. It hit 878, hit midday. It hit January 10th. Now if we're going to add those two numbers together, so January 10th, 1 plus 10 is going to equal what? 11. The ones place is our date sum number. Okay? Or it could be its mirror. Okay? So pay attention. You see these ones and how they're touching that 878? That could have been a date sum number indicator of when you might want to play. But be careful, because some states, they'll show it to you like that, and then they'll do a date number. Okay? It's kind of like they'll switch back and forth. So just be careful. Okay? All right. But yeah, that 878 hit right across. And it hit exact, which was really nice, okay? Do they always come out exact? No. So just be careful with that, okay? Let's look at another key digit number. Let's talk about the 7s and 2s now. Remember, we were talking about those key digit numbers, 2s and 7s. So they don't have to just be 5s and 5s. Your 2s and 7s together could be some key digits that are really hot, bringing on numbers that run straight across. Maybe not in perfect order, but they do. So let's look at the 392. January 7th evening. There was if you notice, there was a 7-7 on the left side. Okay, you have to see that because these key digits do not run daily and they do not run draw to draw. So your goal is, when you see them, those are some hot numbers to pay attention to. A lot easier than trying to figure out all over the board. You know, that's cool sometimes if you can catch them like that, but my eye has to be kept simple because there's so many options, right? So I'm looking for a special place that can guide me. And these key digits, when they're together, can make all the difference in the world. So we have the 651 also, because they can go from top to bottom, so you have to be careful. Okay, you notice how this 878 was on the bottom, right? Well, this 651, pay attention to it. because it came out as 516 January 9th in the evening. And notice the number moved on top. So this is why I say when you see your doubles, your key digits together, look on the top and the bottom. That can give you some good numbers to pay attention to. Like 651, I would have wrote down 897. I also would have wrote went to my mirrors. So I'm going to look for my 27. I would have wrote down 156. And if you notice, this is the same number. When that mirrors, sometimes they're just the same number. That is so awesome. They don't always happen like that. And the other number would have been 392. Okay, so that could eliminate a few numbers right there. But that 516 came in the evening. Now, was there a date sum indicator? No, it was a date indicator. Let me show you the difference. I told you they like to switch. So the day of 9 is what you want to pay attention to. You see this false triple? That's why you got to know mirrors. This 516 hit January 9th. Okay, the date of 9. So some states are going in between date sum numbers and date numbers. So pay attention to that. Okay. All right. Let's see if we had any more. We did. We had a hot key digit here as well. And it was also in the hit. That was letting you know, hey, pay attention to me. All right. So let's look at this. So the 728 on January 10th, there was a 72 key digit right here. And if you look on the top, there was a 605. That came January 12th, midday. And again, we're just using key digits. So the numbers on top or the bottom could be your hottest. And also pay attention to the 22. So 100 could have been an option, or 346. If you're looking at your 72, 605 could have been an option. Or if you're looking under, 841. Okay? So those could have been some options, but the 605 is what hit. And notice it came a little quicker. Notice it took a little less time to get to us, right? Or to you guys in New Jersey. Isn't that fun? I love key digit numbers, and depending on the state, depending on what you're using, and I have to go back and forth, and when I see something that kind of works a little faster and better, you tend to kind of want to gravitate to that. You don't want to make it hard if you don't have to. So I'm not stuck on one particular workout. I like to kind of look, but these key digits and sometimes triples and all that stuff, they kind of just combine themselves together and really help out. Now, the key thing, I did not see a triple off of this one, off the 605. So you got to be careful, because I was looking for a date sum or date number indicator, and I didn't quite see it like that. Okay. But the 72 itself was the date number of 2. So that could be something to pay attention to if it doesn't have a false triple that's slanted. Okay. Something you just study. Okay. But there's one more pattern. And there's another key digit sequence that you're going to want to pay attention to. And I learned this from North Carolina, and that's your 9s and 4s. So key digits could be anything. They could be almost all the numbers put together, but they're specific when they keep coming back. Okay? And this is what I mean. Watch this. Okay? Now you got your 615. You see this 99? Okay, you see how that 99 is together? Now slanted, you got a 615. This 615, we already talked about that from before because it was sitting on cross, but it came against slanted. This was telling you this was really hot. And it came January 9th, which was the date number. So pay attention to that. Okay? Pay attention. So 615, whenever you guys see your 9s, go diagonal, okay? Because up or down, they may be having some really hot patterns. That's your other pattern, okay? Let's do this again with the 375 on January 9th. Look at your 4s and 9s. Your 872, okay? That played a 728 January 10th in the evening. So you guys have quite a bit to look at. And this was just a course of a few days. This is why I said you have to backtrack. When I hear people talk about, oh, certain things don't work for their state, and then I start going back, and then I'm like, the first thing I want you guys to do is start seeing if there's any hits coming straight across. And then I want you to determine if there was a key digit or a triple involved. All right? Because sometimes we're doing all this other stuff and we're still one off, or we need to mirror, or we need to do that. And I'm not saying this is going to be perfect all the time, but I definitely want you guys to make sure you're doing your homework. Well, anyways, guys, that was it. I hope you got a lot out of this lesson. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you guys on the next video.